Hey everyone, before we dive in, if you're enjoying these stories, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. My mom never phoned, never gave any reason. She just sent a text to me, Harper, please don't come. We all want a wedding without any drama. 10 seconds later, my sister gave it a like, as if saying the simplest way to avoid trouble was to pretend I didn't exist. I sat there in my quiet office, high up over downtown Seattle, staring at their words. My heartbeat thumped in my ears, and I typed back the one word that wouldn't show how badly it hurt, understood. That same evening, while my sister smiled for photos under strings of lights at the vineyard, Forbes put up a picture of me next to the governor, holding a shiny award. And the full story hadn't even started yet. To see why that message ever felt okay to them, you have to go back to Tacoma, to a little diner just off the highway where I grew up surrounded by the smell of hot grease and tired sighs. My dad, Tom, ran the diner with hands that never stopped moving and always felt warm. My mom, Grace, worked night shifts in the ICU, coming home with heavy eyes and a deep craving for quiet. Quiet was what she guarded most. Then there was Sophie, bright, easygoing, the kind of person who made everyone feel comfortable just by going along with whatever they expected. If mom needed silence, Sophie provided ease. She slipped right into the calm, simple life mom wanted. Pretty, agreeable, no complications. I was the opposite, curious, straightforward, full of questions. The kid who always asked why, who wanted to figure out how things worked and what happened next, who couldn't act like everything was okay when it wasn't. At our dinner table, whenever I brought up something important, like school projects or big ideas, Mom's face would tighten a little and she'd say softly, "Let's keep things light tonight, Harper." It was gentle, but it still stung. Sophie would jump in with something fun and cheerful, and the look of relief on Mom's face felt like a quiet door closing on me. They loved me, of course, but loving me took work. Loving Sophie didn't take any. Over the years, those roles stuck. Sophie became the easy child. I became the heavy one. Nobody ever said it straight out. They didn't need to. At work, though, my drive wasn't a problem. Ethan, my co-founder and pretty much my brother, got it. He knew my brain ran fast and hot, always creating. My colleague Mia called it focus with a heartbeat. In Seattle, my ambition fit perfectly. It wasn't too much. It was just right. But every trip home changed the air. Mom would speak softer. Dad would step around any tension like it was a spill he had to wipe up. And Sophie glided through it all, polished by everyone's approval. When Sophie got engaged to Ryan, wedding planning turned into a huge production. Sophie wanted the spotlight, but Ryan's mom, Victoria, was really directing everything. Every choice had to be refined, controlled, and above all, quiet. So whenever my name came up, even casually, I noticed it. The quick worry in Mom's eyes, the unspoken plea to stay calm, not rock the boat, not be myself. I should have seen the signs then. In a story built completely around surface-level calm, someone like me was always going to be the first part edited out. In the months before Sophie's wedding, it felt like watching someone I cared about fade behind layers of tulle and rules. Every phone call, her voice sounded more rehearsed, molded by someone else. Victoria had strong opinions on everything, from flowers to how Sophie should stand. Sophie took it all in like instructions she had to follow. Victoria says loose curls look messy in vineyard pictures, Sophie told me once, twisting her hair nervously. I waited a beat. Do you like loose curls? Her quiet pause said it all. Meanwhile, my part in the wedding kept getting smaller. First, I was left out of the photos. Then my toast got cut. Then any talk about my job was off limits because, as Sophie put it, it's just heavy, Harper. You know how Mom gets. I did know. I'd known forever. Anytime I showed real feeling, excitement, frustration, passion, Mom labeled it too much. When Sophie drifted through with easy smiles, it was ideal. But something new started bubbling up under the old pain. It began the day my family came to Seattle for some last-minute wedding errands. We were at a cozy restaurant near my office. I'd barely sat down when Sophie leaned over with a tight smile. "Hey, at the rehearsal dinner, can you just keep things light?" she whispered. "No big talks about climate stuff or supply chains or, intensity." Intensity. The same word Mom used for bad weather reports. Before I could respond, Grace slipped in with that soft, pleading look. Your sister just wants a calm evening. This means a lot to her. It felt final. My voice was a threat to calm. I swallowed it like always. But Ethan, sitting next to me, noticed my shoulders go stiff. Outside later, he said quietly, "That's not normal, you know." Normal or not, it was what I knew. The real shift happened a week later on a call with my parents. I'd shared exciting news about a major contract my company was close to signing, something that would grow our impact across the state. Dad congratulated me warmly, but Mom jumped in fast. "Honey, we're thrilled, really, but maybe save the work talk for later. Wedding stress is already high." There it was again, the ask to shrink myself, to be quieter, easier. I ended the call feeling empty. And in that emptiness, something clicked. Not rage yet, just clear recognition. I wasn't the storm. I wasn't the issue. They'd built their calm around the idea that I was. Nothing prepared me for how far they'd take it to protect that idea. The text came on a regular Tuesday, the kind of day you don't expect your family to redraw who's in and who's out. I was in my office with Mia, going over forecasts when my phone buzzed. Mom's name. The preview made my stomach drop. "Harper, please don't come. We all want a drama-free wedding." For a moment I thought it was an accident, a draft, a wrong number. Then another notification popped up. Sophie liked it. That little thumbs up felt like a punch. My breath rushed out, sharp and embarrassing. Mia kept talking, but everything else faded. I stared at the screen like it was toxic. No invite, no discussion, just clean removal. My fingers hovered forever. I could have asked why, exploded, begged, but it all felt like pleading, and I was done with that. So I typed the one word that kept me together, understood. As I sent it, something inside cracked, and then settled. Not surrender. Clarity. This wasn't losing my family. It was realizing they'd never truly made room for me. I stepped onto the office balcony, Seattle air cool on my face. Ethan found me soon after, worry all over him. "You okay?" I handed him the phone. He read it twice, getting angrier each time. "They uninvited you from your own sister's wedding." I couldn't speak yet, but he said what I needed to hear. "You didn't do anything wrong." It loosened something I'd carried for years. That night in my apartment, I pulled out the deep emerald fabric sample my designer friend Lila had shown me for a custom dress. She'd held it up and said, "Power suits you." I'd laughed then. Now it felt true. I wasn't dramatic or dangerous. I just refused to vanish. So I decided I wouldn't tell them about the award ceremony, not the nomination, not the governor, nothing. If my presence threatened their calm, my absence would be my choice. And my silence would finally be mine. The night of the awards arrived electric and alive. Seattle was warm, the sky a huge clear blue. Stepping out of the car at the state capitol, the marble steps glowed under soft lights. People in evening were streaming inside. Ethan whistled low when he saw me. "Harper, that dress could launch movements." It was the deep green gown Lila had made, strong lines, bold, making me stand taller without effort. Inside, the rotunda hummed with quiet elegance. Photographers moved smoothly, snapping nominees. I felt steady, grounded by purpose. For once, I was walking into a room fully seen. Governor Hale found me early. "Your work is changing this state," she said with a real warm smile. "Tonight celebrates that." I thanked her, but inside I thought, tonight I'm not sorry for taking up space. When my name was called, Harper, CEO and co-founder of an AI logistics company transforming freight across Washington, the applause rose. Lights bright, aisle clear. I walked to the stage, the gowns train whispering over marble. Governor Hale waited with the trophy, its edges catching the golden light. The room cheered as she handed it over, warm, full, echoing under the dome. Holding its cool weight, everything lined up inside me. I wasn't too much. I wasn't the disruption. I belonged exactly here. After photos and congratulations, Ethan nudged me. "Check this. Forbes notification. Under 30 CEO transforming state logistics. Photo of me and the governor, trophy between us." That same night, while Sophie's wedding unfolded, Forbes posted me receiving the award. Guests at the vineyard would see it. The vineyard reception looked perfect. Candlelit tables, fancy linens, soft music. Victoria, flawless in pale silk, glided among guests like it was all a showcase. No rough edges, until phones started lighting up. Whispers spread. A senator showed Grace the Forbes post. "Isn't this your daughter? Amazing achievement." Grace's smile froze. "Yes, that's Harper." "Where is she? I'd love to congratulate her." Heads turned. Victoria overheard. Sophie went rigid. Suddenly the person they'd erased was the one everyone wanted to talk about. Sophie slipped away from photos, gripping her bouquet too hard, trying to breathe as the questions grew. Family forwarded the link. Friends tagged her. A bridesmaid asked, "Why didn't you say your sister was getting an award tonight?" Grace repeated their prepared line. "She's sick, couldn't travel." Someone pointed at the photo. "Doesn't look sick." Back in Seattle, as the event ended, I stepped into the cool night air, trophy heavy with meaning. My phone buzzed, Sophie calling. I let it ring twice, then answered. Her voice shook with panic. "Harper, everyone's talking about you." I leaned against the car, calmer than ever. "I know. You ruined the whole wedding," she snapped. "Sophie," I said softly, "I didn't post anything. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't even mention where I was tonight." She faltered. "You should have made it easier." "Easier?" "Yes. Everything was supposed to be perfect, and now people think we hid you." Silence cut sharp. "You did hide me," I said. "You liked Mom's text. You agreed I shouldn't come. That was your choice." "That was about keeping the peace," she whispered. "No, that was about controlling the story. Yours, Mom's, Victoria's, not mine." Her voice broke. "Do you know how it feels when people ask why my own sister isn't here?" I closed my eyes. "Do you know how it feels to be told not to come?" She had no answer. For once, Sophie was out of easy words. "Avery," she finally said, small and shaky. "Wait, Harper. Everything's falling apart." "No," I said, looking at the dark city lights. "Everything's finally visible." She drew a sharp breath. She felt the shift too, the one we couldn't undo. "You chose peace that required me to vanish." I went on, no anger, just truth. "Tonight the world reminded you I'm still here." Truth was something my family never learned to carry. In the days after, life around me kept moving, but my family's didn't settle. The wedding's shine faded fast. Questions hung around. Photos spread. Their perfect picture now had a visible crack. Sophie called again, quieter this time. "Everything feels heavy now," she said. For the first time, I didn't try to lighten it for her. "Maybe it always was," I replied gently. "We just weren't allowed to say it." Grace stayed silent almost a week. Then she showed up in Seattle unannounced. She looked smaller, not in size, but in certainty, like the gap between who she thought she was and what she'd done had finally caught her. "I didn't get it," she said softly. "I thought peace meant keeping everything quiet." "It meant keeping me quiet," I answered. "That's all." Her eyes filled, but she didn't look away. "I'm trying." And this time I believed her, not because of the words, but because she didn't make excuses. With Sophie, the cracks in her new life were showing. Victoria's grip tightened. Ryan grew short with Sophie's doubts. For the first time, my sister admitted she didn't feel like herself anymore. One day she texted, "I think I get now what it's like to be squeezed into something smaller." I read it a long time, then wrote back, "When you're ready to be fully you, I'll be here. But I won't shrink again to fit." Seattle kept going, meetings, new deals, late nights at work. But inside, I'd found steady ground. I wasn't fighting for a place anymore. I already had one. Looking back, that text didn't destroy me. It showed me the truth I'd been taught to overlook. I was never the drama. I was just the one who wouldn't disappear. And if anyone's ever told you you're too much just for being real, listen close. You don't know the world as smaller you to protect their comfort. If this story resonated, drop your own experience in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.